So let's talk about hiring. What do you guys see in the, one of the things with Drupal has always been, we can't find enough developers. I don't know, how do you
developers
guys?
in general are just...
I'm back to building them again.
Okay, all right. What are you talking
Yeah, for a very long time, we were in the business of growing our staff, but we've found success in the projects that we've done, and we don't market, we don't sell, we basically get all our work through word of mouth.
Right.
You do good work, people start to refer work to you. And so we're in a transition period right now where we're looking at actually becoming a distributed organization.
Yeah.
Maybe a hybrid organization, maybe fully distributed. But by going distributed, that basically casts our net wider,
Right,
so that we
right.
can hire
And
more
your clients
talent.
are distributed anyways.
And at the end of the day, do we actually show up on site
Right.
for our clients? We don't.
No,
Yeah.
right.
Maybe
For
once a quarter.
requirements gathering, I do.
But one of the things I think is
That's
important,
usually
and we
towards
just
the
went
end of the-
through, so we're a very small shop. We're 2 people. We just hired 2 people. One of them stayed on. The other one we didn't bring on board
Right.
full time.
That's the,
Yeah, and so one of the things that I think was a hurdle though was we had 2 offices, and one of the persons was in the separate office, executive suites,
Yeah.
and so with the other person they were in the same office, and so there was a lot more spillover of knowledge. And when you're trying to grow your own, that's really important because they can have an ear and listen in on
Yep.
key conversations and have that kind of educational learning. One of the things I just want to mention for distributed is that if you have something like Zoom or Google Hangouts, you can have kind of, the virtual office hangout. And that's where you can kind of key into everyone's activities.
One of the processes that we kind of adopted, and we're still working at getting better at, even though we all work internally in the same office, is being able to work asynchronously.
Yeah.
Right? So I should be able to hop online at 10 o'clock at night and be able to jump into a project and know exactly where we stand and how I
Right.
can help out into something. And so, that's key to being able to have a distributed organization because, your people may be in 3 different time zones.
Yeah.
Right? And you need to be able to communicate.
right.
So, I feel for us, for ActiveLAMP, I think this is the next logical step for us to grow our organization.
I think it's
You know,
evolutions.
Exactly.
You sort of go through that, right?
And if you think about it, 20 years from now, really, I think being a distributed organization is going to be the norm. Right?
Yeah.
So, in a sense.
Los Angeles is going to be in gridlock, so we're not driving.
I think it's going to be a little while though. So I basically went from having everyone in my office all the time, was kind of my first dogma, and then basically I took on way too much overhead, had some business problems, and reorged the company, and then went completely virtual. And during the completely virtual phase, whenever I would go to, I'll call them big boy customers, they'd ask me where my offices were, and I'd go, we're virtual, and they'd say, well, then you're not like a real company. And then I'd go, no, yeah, dude, we're a real company. We've been around for, blah, blah, blah. I've got this amount of revenue. I have this many staff members. They're like, right, but you're not like a real company. And I'm just like, just wanting to just shoot myself because I'm like, no, dude, it's a real company. And so now we kind of migrated into this kind of hybrid type environment where I've got, probably about 8 guys that are in the office all the time. Mm-hmm. And then the other 9 are scattered all over the place.
Right.
And to your point about the, picking up and kind of learning through osmosis.
Yeah.
So when I made the reference to growing talent, the new college kid that I hired from UCI, actually, ironically enough, he's in the office, period.
Yeah.
Because I don't want
I don't see any
a
other
young
way you can do it.
engineer
Yeah.
at home getting stuck on stuff.
Have you guys-
I don't think that's real.
Have you guys tried pairing them for a number
Well,
of months?
pairing them, yes, but pairing them in the office.
Yeah.
Yes, he will report directly to Roger, and Roger will be making sure that the young engineer is doing everything correctly.
But you can only hire so many
I'm
young
worried-
engineers, right?
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
need
yeah,
to
totally.
You need to backfill that up with, because we grow our own, if you will. We have 3 intern classes a year. We run anywhere from 3 to 5 people through those internship classes, and frankly, those are the best group that we get, right? Because They believe in the culture from minute one. They love the idea. They buy into it. There's no bad habits. There's all kinds of energy. I love the internship program. However, somebody's got to manage, lead, and be able to answer questions. So whenever we get an opportunity to hire somebody that is a true Drupal expert, and they've been in the community for a while, and I don't care where they live. We'll do that because those folks can be distributed. And anybody that's been in the office for more than a year, they also have the ability to go move wherever they want to move.
True.
But I do want I always encourage people to spend at least a year in the office. We're in San Diego. It's not a rough,
It could be worse.
It could be worse, right?
Could be in Edmonton.
Yeah, right. But I think I'm a big believer in the culture and the being able to have processes around, making sure that, everything happens the same way in every team that you're doing,
Well, to that point, how do you focus on growing your culture and also growing your own? How have you built up a process around those, I guess, onboarding
What do you mean growing
tasks?
the culture?
Well, just in building your culture around your company, right?
Sure.
How do you communicate that to new hires as they're brought on board, especially in a distributed scenario? How do you make sure everyone's included? And then another case of growing your own,
Well,
do you
I
have
think
a
for
process
us-
for that?
I think for us it was, for one thing, we had to figure out who we hire, right? We hire really nice people that want to learn and want to get better, and that's what worked for us. Now, you don't get in the door without a computer science degree, so that's pretty easy, so we know you have the chops. But if you want to keep on learning, or if you're a nice person we want to work with, you want to keep on learning, and you're always working better, because our whole thing is about quality on time. Right, and once we got rid of all the other stuff, you have your vision statement, your mission statement, you got your value garbage. I mean, for us, it was just one simple statement: quality on time. And then once everybody knew what was expected from them, then we were able to say, okay, here, now that's our mountain. We'll never get there, right? We'll never be perfect, but that's when you have a question. That's what. That you ask yourself, is this going to produce a quality product? Yeah. And if the answer is no, then that's not the right answer, or that's not the direction. You have to pick the other direction, and then from there it will sort of grow on itself. But if you don't have that one core value or that one core idea about why you're in business and what you're doing, I think it's really hard to grow a culture, because no matter how many times you tell people, they will hear something, they will hear what they want to hear. We would go over and we'd talk, and we'd say, here, this is what the company does, and I'd go talk to one of my employees or salesperson or CTO, and it would be something different. And I'm blue in the face, and then I just got rid of all of that, made it super simple. This is what we do, and that worked for us.
Make it binary.
Make it binary. Yeah.
For me, I would say that as much as I was taught in business school about all the different things, about creating corporate value and mission statements, and kind of what he was saying, like I've done all of that stuff at different points in time. And it didn't really change anything, for me anyways.
Right.
It didn't change the way the guys acted or the girls acted or anything. It didn't really change anything. Like, for me, in my mind, what changes the corporate values and structure more than anything is actually just going out to lunch with the team members and just kind of talking to them about, kind of what is expected of them and what, what I see the values of the company being, and how I think they're performing, asking them for feedback on how they think the company is going. And then after building the personal relationships with the staff members and going out to lunch with them a lot in a one-on-one basis, then they're not scared to tell me what they actually are really thinking. So when I may hire an individual early on, you're like boss man, and so they're not going to be like, Ron, you're totally doing this wrong, they're not going to be comfortable saying that because they're scared.
No, they won't. Yeah.
And kind of rightfully
Scary
so.
guy.
I mean, you know, I was scared of my first boss too, you know? You know, but after I've, you know, gone out to lunch with a guy, you know, like 5 or 6 times, you know, after hiring them, you know, and then I go out with them the 6th time and I go, dude, that project we were on, man, like, we probably could have done a little better, you know, like, what do you think we should do, you know, to like make this better, you know, like what could we have done better, you know, after going out and spending like 5 lunches with the guy, you know, trying to get to know him or her as a person and talking to them about their wife and their kid and, you know, all of the crap that's in their life. Then you've created that personal bond that then allows them to be more honest with you to where you're not scary.
Right.
You know, you're just a dude that happens to be their boss, and I'm looking at them almost kind of like in a servant leader fashion where I'm going, what could we have done to change this? Or what could I have done, you know, to not put you in that weird situation that you were stuck in? You know, where maybe I misscoped something, or like, what can I do to make this better? You know, and every time I try and do it, I'll call it the corporate way, I fuck it up. And every time I do it where I'm just like that dude that happens to be your boss, like that has been very successful to me. And I can get good, honest feedback.
That's funny because I think of that relationship that you're describing with staff also as the same way that we've tried to build relationships with our clients.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If you can get to the point where you can go out to lunch, and you've had lunch with them 5 times, and you can have that conversation where you're 2 people rather than, you know, client and vendor, it gets a lot easier to just, hey, I think you need to be thinking about doing this a little differently, and then the dialogue kind of opens up.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I remember the first time I took Esmeralda out for lunch. Oh my God, I swear she looked like she was gonna cry. She was totally looked like she was gonna cry. You know, like the first time we went out to lunch, you know, and I never really thought through, like, you know, that how scary that could have been, that first time. You know, going out to lunch when you're the 22-year-old that just got hired, you know? But yeah, I mean,
Drinks help too, by the way.
yeah, oh, drinks totally help. But your point about clients, I mean, I think the same is true. That once you can get to that point of where you've had enough relationship with them outside of work.
Humanize yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As long as you stay as that corporate consultant guy, then they won't tell you the truth. They'll just tell you what they think you want to hear.
Right, or what they think a vendor should hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think that has helped our culture is every Friday we do lightning talks within our organization, and I think what really
That's a good
drives
idea.
our developers is the passion to learn, right?
Yep.
And so, like Ron was saying, you know, finding highly motivated people. You know, I guess one of our core values is finding people with that growth mindset, right? That love the process of actually learning and doing and getting better. And so, I mean, that's been a game changer for us, just having these lightning talks on Fridays, just to
good
kind
idea.
of
Yeah, we do
get
Tuesday
the
lunch and
momentum.
learns.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
And it's that face to face. You get to
Yeah.
like really commend somebody, like, wow, dude, that is awesome. I had no idea that can happen. It's a huge morale booster. But we need to wrap it up here. We've got some people coming into the room, so I just want to thank you guys for joining us. You know, again, this is DrupalCamp LA. Cheers.
Everybody.